recording live, and we are back. Yesterday we started working on our server side a bit. We got some of our input handlers working, some of our output handlers working, and today we're going to do something similar that we did to the front end on the back end, which is effectively this function here, which is receiving data. And so kind of sort of play around a little bit and then write some tests just to make sure that we're understanding how things are coming together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a, what do we call this? We call this socket stream handler. I think we have something similarly named. Let's see here, we have the util, we have the stream handler, a stream reader, so that's probably okay. And we have stream input. Let's see what that is. That's that. We probably won't need that because we're going to put that into our handlers. So we're just going to kind of continue on. We have our socket server. We have our socket acceptor. Let's see here. Our game server socket acceptor. This is not set up yet, but this will basically be where we collect our port, and then we send that on. So just gonna look at our integration test real quick. So here we connect our socket and we receive the data. So what we need to do is we need to sort of set up like a function that sort of checks to see. We need to wait for a couple things here. We need to store the data on the socket, kind of like how we did our buffer. And I got something in my tooth. Embarrassing. So this store the data someplace, and then buffer it, etc., and then read from it. What's a little bit different is we have to call receive manually here. So what we're going to need to do, we're going to need to do some sort of loopy thing to sort of manage it. So what we're going to do is let's start with our, we'll call this the, we'll probably end up moving these here to its own directory. But we'll take that bridge when we get to it. So what we're going to do is just trying to think of a good name. I guess we're just going to call it socket stream handler .ex. And I don't need this open anymore. And test game server socket stream handler test.exs. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just read, we're going to just read in our test game server socket server test, because it's going to be very similar to what we'll be working on already. So now we have our acceptor. Probably get rid of that. Required logger, might keep that around. I'm sorry, I can't seem to get over this cough. And we have the socket stream handler test. We're going to be using mocks, and what we need to do is we need to probably set up some sort of data handler. Sort of thinking through how we're going to tackle this problem still. And so let's think here. Let's put this in real quick. Def module game server socket stream handler do. Let's take a look here. We've got our sort of planning it out, thinking through how I want to do this. There's a socket acceptor. So our server, when it gets connected, it kind of bounces through here. We've got our port. I'm thinking that we'll probably set up a process per connection. And this is a Elixir process. This isn't a server process, operating system process. So we can create as many of these as we want effectively, as long as we have memory to do it. And we want to do that just so that we take advantage of the full CPU at all times. So if we receive the port, we probably want to pass it off to some sort of state management module. Darn, can't get over this cough. Let's see here. Make sure we have Exactor. Okay, Exactor. So let's call this. I'm going to try to go into this realm of actually game server. Of actually starting this new directory. We call this IO, I guess. Okay, IO. I'm going to call this the socket store. I'm trying to think how we want to do this. If we can actually look up on a port, and let's try that. IEX-S capital S mix. So I'll actually compile in all of our stuff for this module, this app. Gosh darn it. And so let's see here. We're going to be working with a map. So we're going to do Elixir map. And we're going to put stuff onto a map. And then we get, so we just want to see if we can effectively just put a port on there. And it should be fine, but I just want to make sure. So we can actually we can do the process, which is even more accurate. What we're going to do is we're going to do bid equals, trying to think of a good way to do this. We can do gen server start and the gen server is what we end up using. So it's a stands for generic server. And it's a way of an abstraction around state. So we can always talk to our gen server and we can always grab our state and it'll handle all the mailbox and state management, stuff like that. So we're going to use this. All I want to do is actually want to see if we could map the PID. So I'm just looking for the start function here. Can't believe I can't stop choking. Module will be, I wonder if this will work. Oh, that'd be better. Just for this as an agent. Agent start function give it a map. Name agent. So no case clause matching. Am I missing something on the agent? Start link. No case matching agent. Seems okay. What's going on here? Start link, function map, name module. I don't see why that doesn't work. No function clause matching agent. We could just do this. There we go. So now we have PID. Sorry about the coughing. That's rough. Okay, so we're going to do a map equals map.new. So create a new map. Map set on our map our PID. I'm going to call this foo. So we're going to use the PID as our key. That was the part I was interested in. And it looks like that might be a problem. So here, let's get set. Oh, because there's no set, it's put. Now, we'll do map get map PID, and we should get foo, and we get nil. So that's not going to work for us. So match operator. Hash set, map set. Let's see if we can do something with map set. So I'm going to set equals map set new. Is there a put? There is a put. So set dot put PID foo. Oh, I need. Okay. Not what I thought it was. Okay, map set put set PID, and then map set get set PID. There. That's definitely not what I want. Okay, let's look at hash set. Or is there hash dict? Okay, we just use map anyways. So that's kind of a toughie. If we do, let's see here. PIDX. They do not match. Those don't match as well. Okay. Those do match. And that does match. So why did this map not work? So we put that in there. Map get map PID nil. That is a bummer. What if we do string to string. Like this. Let's see here. See if there's a way to get a PID string. Those are always unique. It's a little weird, but it will work. Though I'd rather have the PID be fetched, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So, let's look here. Process. Nothing about, there we go, process. Nothing that is going to get us a string of this. I wonder if we can do this. We just do PID. There's gotta be a way. Okay. I think I'm done choking. So, good thing we checked into this, because we definitely want to be able to get these by keys. We could register a PID by name, which must be an atom. Process PID. That's not going to be as good either. Let's see here. Associates a name with a name with a PID or port identifier. Name which must be name can be used instead of the PID. Port identifier which can also function. So we'll try this. We'll just see what process register PID foo. Okay. Process get foo. No. Process registered. Foo's in there. Let's see here, is there process where is foo. Now it gives our process. We're still subject to a string or atom key, and I don't like that. Let's see here. Let's keep looking around. If there's any other way of looking this up. That's not going to help us. System task, tuple, no. We may have to do something that's similar to, like, if we're going to do, we're going to have map equals map.new, and I'm going to do map put map, and we'll need to do, actually, I have to say, like, yeah, darn, this is kind of a bummer. We probably have to store, like, a list, and then traverse the list. Let's see here. I don't like the idea of having a list. It may not have an option here. Hash dict is gone because we have the map now. From struct converts a struct to a map. I don't care. Keys. Map. Put map pid foo. I'm going to do map keys map. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't even insert it. So that's it's good to know. Okay. Put new lazy, but new. Okay. Take all entries corresponding to given keys and return them in a new map. Okay, that's kind of cool. So, map.values. Still nothing there. So it doesn't actually store, it doesn't give us a warning, which is kind of a bummer. If there's anything else in here. Nil. Okay, I'll see here. When we did the put, it looks like it actually worked. It actually didn't. That's kind of, I think that's a pretty rough oversight on that one. We could just store it into a list and iterate the list. All these options don't seem all that fantastic, other than let's see here. What about the set? Let's go back to the set, map set. If we can, actually we can convert to a list. And we don't really get what I want out of this either. Darn, this is a toughie. Because what we want, we need to have a fast lookup, so we don't want to iterate a list if we don't have to. We could. Darn, there's just nothing about this that I like. All keys in the process dictionary. There's got to be a better way. I have this. We need to get information about the process. So get returns a value for the key, get keys, group leader, hibernate info, process info, PID, registered name. So let's do process and register, so we don't have that. Foo. So, initial call messages links dictionary. If there's nothing in here that gives us some sort of unique identifier other than the PID itself. I know we can do IO inspect PID. That returns our PID. See here, flag, sets certain flag, process flags. No, don't want to get into that. What about talking to the kernel? What do you think about that? Let's talk to the kernel. Those are inspect as item is binary, as bit string, as boolean, as float, as function, as integer, as map, as number, as PID. No, not arg. Spawn link, spawner. Nothing there either. I'm running out of options here, trying to get a unique identifier for this guy. If we do process registered, we have a ton there that's registered. That's a list. That's another problem one. We need to be able to take our, let's try atoms. See if we can take our PID and turn it to an atom. No, that's not going to work either. So here, it's got to be. So I know we can do this. How about if we just do PID foo. Yeah. Is this possible? Nope. That's a key. I find it kind of I feel like this should work because it's using the match operator. It appears to have a problem with the new continually map from an enumerable. If we do map.new, we did PID foo. That's an enumerable. That didn't seem to be okay with that. Once I have, if we do see here, put update values. Let's see here. Equal checks if two maps are equal. That's not going to be that great. Get an update. I feel like there's something I'm missing here. If we do that, that's not going to work either. Let's look at this. New here, new enumerable. So it's actually a keyword map. Darn, this is really working my mind on how to solve this. This is really not that hard. It's just kind of a bummer. Well, if we could turn a PID into a string, we're good, but can't seem to figure that out. And let's check the drill on Google here. Say Elixir PID to string. Oh, looks like someone's done this. It's already translated PID to a string. Look at that. Google whoops. Unique integer. It is part of the system. Okay. The last place we didn't look. Okay, so user home, unique integer as unique in the current runtime instance. So that's, no, that still doesn't do us any good because that means we need to be able to map the PID to it. So that's not going to do us any good. And they aren't guaranteed to be unique anyways. So what we need to do, so that's not going to be what we need. Wow, this is a tough one. We're not getting very far on this today, are we? Just staring at documentation, trying to figure out how we're going to find a way to look up this PID when we receive it. Wow, can we do a port? Actually, let's just try this. Let's pretend we have a port. And we're going to say map new. Send this to the map. Map put map port PID. And then we're going to map get port. Oops. That still doesn't work. Map keys. Map. Oops. Map keys. That still doesn't get anything. So we do, let's try map put map foo PID. Map get map foo. So everything. What's the problem here? Is our map just broken? I feel like our map is just broken because that should be working. So map put, maybe this is sign foo. Nothing's working. Okay, so that's exciting. Let's map equals this map set or put map foo var. Okay, map get map foo. Huh. All right. That is a problem if we can't get a map to. So I'm just going to call x this time. Map dot put x foo var. Map get x foo. Okay, so do I not know how to use a map, or is the map broken? So this is actually makes me feel quite a bit better, knowing that this is not working for anything. So if we do map put x, that is the problem. Oh, darn it. Okay, I'm an idiot. Brew, upgrade. Might as well get the latest Elixir anyways. I am an idiot. Okay. Are you ready for this? You ready for this retardedness? So we're gonna do. Okay. Oh, I can't believe this. We spent all this time on me being an idiot. So agent, start, link, function. We'll give it a empty map. End. Name. Foo. Okay. And wait a minute. Should we do this? Okay, so there it is. What we're doing is we're doing map put or map equals map new. Okay, this is I'm gonna show you what I did wrong first. We did map, but this is if anyone knows functional programming, you'll see how ridiculous I've been. So there's my put, and obviously, if we did get map PID, it returns a nil, like there's nothing in there. Because this is functional programming, and everything's immutable, so I actually have to assign it to a new map. Boom, there it is. Map, get, map, PID, there it is. Okay, so that was a fun hour of being a retard. So now let's get into the actual program we're going to work on. So def module, we'll do, what do we call this? Socket store. So here's our IO. GameServer.io.socket store do and use X actor. And I think that is spelled with a capital A. Oh, Elixir. Let's see here, it's X actor. So, okay, now that seemed a little odd. I'm glad I didn't give up. So socket store, I'm going to create a test game server IO. We need to make a directory first. Make directory vi test game server IO socket store test .exs. There we go. Let's read in our test. No. Test game server dot test. Okay. Game server dot io dot socket store test. Def. We're going to actually we want to do setup. Oops, too far. Elixir setup. Unit task setup. Forget the teardown. There is a setup macro, I believe. Start. Where's the callbacks that I'm interested in? Here we go. On exit, set up context. So we're going to do setup do and we're going to do on exit function and we're going to get our OK PID, and this is going to be the alias game server IO socket store socket store start link. So that should do that, and then we're going to return OK socket store, and this is going to be our PID. Not that it really matters, actually. And on exit, we're going to do process. So we're going to go to Elixir. Just want to make sure I remember. I think it's terminate. No, good thing I looked it up. Exit. We're going to exit our PID. And reason. Normal. Normal. Okay, so test should store the PID. Should store the port PID. Should be able to look up socket info from PID. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add, so because of our setup, we can actually pass parameters to this. So this will be socket store PID. And so now we can talk directly to the socket store. So now we can say socket store. In fact, I don't even think we need the PID to pass. So I think we can get away with this. Because they're only going to ever have one. Maybe. Probably. We'll start with one. And we're going to do, set up our API here. We're going to say def cast. So to kind of explain this, is a gen server is a generic server, and it's an abstraction around state. And it has a bunch of utilities or functions that you can call that manage some basic things you want to do with state. It's usually just around storage or some sort of function execution. Likely you just want to store state. That's your best bet. Though you don't have to, I recommend it. So what you do is that there's a couple of functions you can implement, and they all kind of do something a little bit different. So like call will actually make a synchronous call to the server, so it'll actually block, which is good for many cases. there's cast, which is an asynchronous request to the server, and you're not going to get a reply. And this is what we're going to use for setting, because we don't have to worry about the response to it. We just need to make sure it's set right away. We could do a call. It really depends on, actually I think in this case we're probably going to do a call just because we need to make sure that it happens before anything else does, that the value is being saved, the PID in this case, a port. So multi-calls, if you call multiple nodes, that's for distributed stuff. Reply is just a simple reply. You could just set up a function for it to call, always returns OK. So there's a couple of things in here that make working with state really easy with Erlang/Elixir. You can also handle specific things like code changes. You can do hot code swapping. That's a pretty big thing. You can handle other messages. So we're actually going to just work with a small subset to start. So we're actually going to do def call, and Exactor just makes an abstraction around that abstraction. So instead of doing def start link, stop, increment, decrement, and it's a very like handle cast. It's a very common pattern. You do, like, you create an API and then you have to handle cast or handle call. Well, they do it all in one step here, so it makes it quite a bit easier. So what we do is say def call, and this is going to be the function name. So we're going to say store, and now we're going to have our state and our, actually we're not going to call it state, we're just call it store, and do, I think we're going to need def start. This is going to be start link, that's what we want. I want to make sure we did start link. And our initial state is going to be an empty map, so we can just do map.new. So that's our initial state. So when we start the link, it starts out with a new map. And now, actually I think this needs to be state. So now we can set our new state. So there's a bunch of little functions here that we can dive into. Let's see here. We want to look at def call. It's also def call p for private. But what I want to look for, I believe there's a update and reply, set and reply right here. So we have our new state and our response. So our new state will be, so here, let's just start later. Okay. Handling return values. We actually want to pass it the PID. And we want to pass it a trying to think how we want to do this. I think we eventually want to store as a connected player so that when we actually fetch the PID, we get all the player information and we get the port if they're connected. So I'm going to stick with that. And let's see here. Don't care about process registration yet. What I do want to know is how the that's def call request state. So it is state. Okay. Set and apply. This will be state dot, oh sorry, map. I think there is a new, or which one is it? Yeah, put new. Puts a given under key unless the key already exists. So put new head player, like that. And then our response will be okay. Set and reply. Which we didn't quite TDD that, but that's the idea. Let's do where's our test here? Socket store. We're going to do one thing I didn't see is the start. Def start. I want to be able to start with a name. Okay, so there is. I can just do name. Initial state. With Sectorgen server. No. Start. Oh, def init. I don't want that. Def start. What's the initial state? Initial state. Just start initial state. Do. I want to be able to name the cache name timeout after. Running out of time here. Behavior. Cluster test, dynamic test, predefines. There's the initial state. Find a singleton start. Learning a lot right now. Predefines. I'm curious where it's picking up this. There's a lot of macro magic going on here. Delegator gen server. So that doesn't do much for us. Use X actor. Operations. Let me look at this again. So, for one, gen server. But, so okay, that's helpful. So using quote use gen server generated functions, hash set new, operations and responders. So operations. Okay. Is there initial state? Okay, so that's that. And responders. Here we go. Timeout answer, hibernate, reply, set and reply, new state, no reply, stop server. There's no way to, is there an issue on this? No. Process put that, reply, no reply. Operations. So this is the define starter, define starter, args, so I think darn, this is not that clear. So I might just go to a regular gen server instead of using this, just because I think, no, this has gotta be missing something here. Options, unquote, private phone args options. Def start. It's not private. Function. Args options. I feel like we can just do name. Module. I feel like that would work. So let me, I'm running out of time. I gotta go to my day job. So let's just pause here. We're just gonna keep this as is, and we'll continue this on tomorrow. So happy coding, and we'll continue this on. I'll see you guys then.